Soapstone Prairie has a rich human history dating back to 13,000 years ago during the Clovis era. Since then, many groups have moved about the landscape. Based on archaeological findings, Folsom people lived on this land over 12,000 years ago. Other artifacts have revealed the presence of Native American tribes such as the Apache, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Comanche, Crow, Kiowa, Lakota, Pawnee, and Shoshone. After the Homesteading Act was passed in 1862, homesteaders and ranchers settled in the Soapstone Prairie. Drought and blizzards drove them off the land. In 2004, the city of Fort Collins bought Soapstone Prairie and has since managed it. This was made possible by a tax called Open Space Yes. Laramie Foothills Mountains to Plains project believes soapstone to be an important habitat for a movement corridor for animals moving from the high plains to the Front Range. Soapstone is significant because it also preserves symbolic tribal and homesteader artifacts from the Lindenmeyer archaeological site. Soapstone's historical significance and pristine habitat make this prairie an ideal candidate for protection.
The major direct threats to Soapstone Prairie Natural Area include introduction and spread of invasive weeds, incompatible grazing regimes, erosion from human recreation, and human disturbance of wildlife. Environmental degradation caused by human recreation is a prominent threat to Soapstone. Hiking, horseback riding, and mountain biking can result in increased erosion, trampling of sensitive plant species, and increased stress on wildlife species. The rapid increase in visitors and recreation over the last 10 years has made Soapstone more susceptible to negative impacts from human use. For example, careful placement of infrastructure, restrooms, and trails is a priority to prevent disturbance to breeding bird distribution, native plant species, and other ecological features. Especially with the reintroduction of bison, the land that they graze on needs to remain untouched. Indirectly, the population increase has brought more urban development to northern Colorado. This influx in development contributes to habitat destruction and decrease in habitat connectivity. With decreased habitat connectivity, wildlife faces challenges to reproduction and migration from all surrounding areas. The wide open spaces of Soapstone Natural Area serve a wide range of wildlife species. The area is critical habitat for pronghorn antelope to reproduce and raise their young. It also provides winter food and shelter for deer and elk. For the elk, this is also one of the few places in Colorado where their herds can venture onto their native plains.
Residents in the city of Fort Collins noticed that open spaces were under threat from expanding urban centers during the 1990s. As a result of this, a succession of citizen-initiated sales taxes were passed, like Open Space Yes. These important initiatives have given protected area managers an opportunity to intervene in order to reduce the impacts of anthropogenic threats. Because Soapstone Prairie is managed as a Category 5 protected area by the City of Fort Collins, considerations were given to recreation uses as well as conservation goals. Colorado is experiencing both an increase in population and an increase in outdoor recreation. It can be anticipated that these threatening processes will increase over time. Due to these anticipated threats, the city has enacted some regulations to concentrate impacts to the trail systems which dissect the area. These regulations include management zones for different activities. There are trails specifically for hiking and biking, as well as trails designated for horseback riding. Human use is only allowed on the trail systems. The remainder of Soapstone is protected for bison range and to allow natural ecological processes to occur. A new pull-off and sign have been added for visitors to view bison without encroaching on their habitat. Dogs are not allowed in the area in order to reduce stress on wildlife species and to prevent disease transmission. Other important regulations in place are seasonal closures and trail maintenance. Soapstone is not open to the public from December 1st through February 28th. Management for trails includes assessment, snow removal, mowing along edges of trails, fixing problem areas, and adding handicap access features.
Soapstone Prairie Natural Area is a relatively small protected area. One of the most important aspects of its protection was to include the area as a part of a landscape-level conservation effort. The Laramie Foothills Mountains to Plains project is a revolutionary project which acknowledges the migration patterns of many wildlife species in the area. The goal of this project is to create movement corridors between protected areas. More specifically, they want to create corridors between prairie ecosystems of lower elevations to the high elevation summer range of wildlife species.
Importantly, the Mountains to Plains project has allowed private landowners to partner with conservationists to protect valued prairie ranges. A few decades ago, the Nature Conservancy recognized the ecological value of continuous habitat and bought Phantom Canyon Preserve, located a few miles west of Soapstone. They have expanded their efforts to enlist many local ranching families to collaborate on conservation by signing conservation easements. These easements have guaranteed that large areas of land will remain undeveloped for years to come. This has been a key part of the success of the Mountains to Plains project and is invaluable to the Soapstone Prairie Natural Area.